We're live now.
Hi, everyone, or maybe just us.
Yeah, people are joining now.
Hi, everyone, or maybe just us. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. We're so happy that you're here with us today. Sorry, we had a little bit of an issue um, with our computers trying to get online. I don't know if
I don't think it was our computers. I think it's Substack. So,
yeah, maybe Substack doesn't like us. Maybe they do. Not really sure. Oh, oh, Elisa Valdez Rodriguez. Oh, I'm so excited. We love you too. I love her. I
oh
I
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like Elisa. Yeah.
I know I do too. I wish I knew how to bring you on here. I would.
I think you can invite her. See if you can click on that and invite her into that.
Oh, let's. Elisa,
Or
well,
maybe
I
see if is there an invite button for you on that?
no, there isn't, but Elisa, would you come on if we invite you? You have to if say yes or no because I don't want to invite you if you like aren't no, she's not able. Okay.
She says no.
Yeah, I needed to be okay. I just needed to okay, thank you. Well, we wanted to talk to you. I totally understand. I didn't want to just send an invite if you weren't ready to come on. Okay, so we're here today because Jen and I were going back and forth about basically how pissed off we are about the patriarchy, the Save Act. Maybe I'm speaking for you, Jen. I'll speak for
Oh
myself.
no, I'm always pissed off. So
Yeah. So how pissed off we are about the SAVE Act, about the patriarchy, about the shitty comments that are coming out from people like Nick Fuentes and all of these other people. So we wanted to, um, with the fact that I just saw SUFS, which is about the Women's Suffrage Act that took place at it was a Broadway musical, and it really inspired me, and not just inspired me, it was a form of just recognizing the struggle. Actually, I knew the names, I knew what happened, but the thing is right now, um, what's upon us is another struggle that is before us, and I think that it's very important for us to acknowledge and, understand the stakes of what is before us, and so that people truly understand, what's going on. Let's remember it took us 144 years for women to actually be able to vote. 144 years. My grandmother, my Puerto Rican grandmother is still living, and she has been, she's 101 years old. She just turned on
mm,
Valentine's Day. So
mm,
she has been alive almost the entire extension of how long women could actually vote. And
yep,
now, because of the SAVE Act, some of the things that they're trying to institute, she's put in a situation where she may not even be able to vote if she doesn't find the right like that just incenses me. And by the way, she is still with it. I put a picture in an article. She still has the right to vote. She should still have the right to vote. And I'm
yeah.
super pissed off about it. So, um, International Women's Day to me, which is coming up, you guys, on March 8th, I really feel like women need, and men who love women, care about women, have women, daughters, sisters, friends, people in their lives that actually they care about and they want to support to stand up against the SAVE Act and against the patriarchy once and for all. Because what's happening right now is very concerning. So concerning that last night I actually had a dream I couldn't vote, people. I mean, this is how much it's weighing on my soul. And if it's not weighing on yours, it should. So I
Mhm.
reached out after I saw Nick Fuentes' comment. Actually, that guy, I cannot with that guy, but we'll talk about him later. And I reached out to Jen and I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing here? And wanted to talk about the stakes that women are facing with International Women's Day coming up, because I really hope women throughout our country, in our local communities and beyond, are going to pull something together where we are standing up and having our voices heard, and saying that we're not going to back down. We are not
Mm.
going to back down. So, talking about the International Women's Day, it's more than just about a celebration for me, for all of us. This is about vigilance. This is about protecting our rights. And
Mm.
I wanted to bring um, Jen Budd on because, well, I mean, she's a badass and she's Jen Budd. And I thought she had a lot to offer in terms of her I didn't even know you had that. But you are a badass, and I love her to pieces, and I just can't say enough great things about this woman. I love her to pieces. I promote
Mhm,
any of the things that and it's a love of, um, truth. It's a love
mm,
of transparency. It's a love of what she is willing to bring forward and honoring the truth and just continuing to tell it over and over and over and over again to anyone who will listen. So, um, that being said, I just wanted to start out by asking her, as somebody who's served inside of a federal enforcement agency. What is International Women's Day that's coming up on March 8th? What does that mean to you?
it's interesting, so in we had talked a little bit beforehand once we finally connected about what we wanted to talk about because we haven't really, we wanted to bitch today about
Yeah,
what's
when we're going
going on. We'll borrow from Francesca Fiorenzini's, Bitchuation room a little bit and bitch about this, but so International Women's Day to me, quite honestly means kinda like I think what Martin Luther King Day means to a lot of, white Americans of just putting out great phrases and posts and not really doing a damn thing about it,
Yeah.
and not caring about the fact that we've lost our rights to bodily autonomy, but what it made me think about was how the Border Patrol celebrates this. And
Oh,
so
tell me,
every
how do they
yeah,
celebrate? I can't wait to
they
hear.
celebrate it by the chiefs of the different sectors. The Border Patrol is divided in different sectors across the country geographically. And the chiefs tend to put out their own little interpretation of that. Chief Bovino likes to make videos, and I actually have a video where he put the very first Latina we had, Ernestina Lopez, up in the video to celebrate International Women's Day and how important women are in service to the Border Patrol. And he did that only after Aaron Siegel McIntyre had done a podcast called The Fearless 5% in honor of female Border Patrol agents and told our story. It's on Reveal News podcast. So if you type Reveal News and the Fearless 5%, you'll find it.
I'm gonna write this down.
And that is where we first learned about Ernestina Lopez as the first Latina in 1975 to join the Border Patrol, and so what Gregory Bovino was celebrating there, he had never brought her picture out before. The Border Patrol really honestly hadn't even remembered who she was until this podcast came out, and as Aaron told the story, Ernestina, our first Latina agent, was raped in the academy as part of her hazing into the United States Border Patrol just as I was. So she was the first female agent raped into the United States Border Patrol. I don't know what number I was 20 years later. I have no idea because they won't tell us. So that was Greg Bovino's tribute to women in the Border Patrol to tell. And I did a video at the time. I said, I consider that a threat to female Border Patrol agents. I think you're telling us that that is what our job is because that is what they tell us is to take care of the men sexually. That is our job in the Border Patrol.
Oh my
And
god,
so that is how
I'm
the
so
US Border
sorry.
Patrol celebrates women in the United States Border
Oh,
Patrol by
okay.
celebrating their sexual assaults and hazing into the United States Border Patrol. Thank you, Chief Gregory Bovino, for proving that true. Thank you.
So that's unbelievable, but it's
Mm,
believable.
I
I
still
I
have the
shouldn't have even
video,
said
so
unbelievable because that's the problem that we have in America, is that nobody believes the women
nope.
first. Nobody believes them. They continue to tell their story, and people just kind of it's like, "Oh, well," we turn our heads.
And
I'm over it.
unfortunately, too, there's as we see in the Epstein thing, that there's a lot of women that cover this up, and we find that in the Border Patrol. The women who rise in ranks, they will all look down at the lower ranks of women and say, "Well, it was worse when I went through, so you have to go
Yes.
through it too." And they will cover for the men. And some of the women, especially the lesbian women, I say this as a lesbian, obviously not all of us do it. I was not that way. But unfortunately, there's a lot of the lesbian women in the Border Patrol are just as sexually violent towards the female agents as the men are.
Wow.
So
Wow. Oh my god. So, did you ever this is a dumb question, I actually wrote this out, I don't even need to ask it.
there's no dumb questions.
Well, that's true, but it's I mean, it's obvious. How did you feel, operating inside of a system that's not I mean, you truly felt that this was a system that was built it was not originally built or ever, built to include women, correct?
N- it's a man's agency. Our one of our highest ranking female chiefs ended up being Gloria Chavez. She just took the fall for accepting gifts and bribes, apparently, and had to resign, but she still managed to keep her, I think she managed to keep her pension. But she was actually in the academy when I was in the academy, and she was one of the women that told us what was expected of us. And she flat out said from that day, and I'll never forget, she said, I want more women in the Border Patrol, but you have to understand what's expected of you. You're either going to be uh, raped into this agency, or you'll have to have sex voluntarily, which is not voluntarily, with your instructors because there's the power dynamic going on. And
Unbelievable.
and she said this is a man's agency.
Okay.
And it's always been that way. It has always been that way, and so, as I say, if you know that they're doing this to the female agents, what do you think they're doing to the migrants and to the children? So,
That's
yeah,
exact well, and don't get me started about that, but we know what they're doing
yeah.
because we believe what we're hearing from all of the people that are sharing stories, from Politico publishing those, letters, those heart-wrenching letters from children that were saying, "Get me out," from knowing, the huge report that was out about how they are holding children far longer than what's legally permitted
Mhm.
the legal
Mhm.
permission of holding children in those concentration camps. I'm going to call them what they are. I'm not calling them detention centers. We need to like remember our language about that, right? So, is 20 days is my understanding. They're only allowed to hold them in there for 20 days. They're being held, they're losing their child. It's taking 6 months. And it was validated that the young 2-month-old infant who was sick with bronchitis who was only 2 months old, who almost died in federal custody, was then Juan was his name, was dropped off on the other side of the border with his mother and
Well, he
just
might still die
Yeah,
because
I
usually
know.
when they release them like that, it's because they think they're gonna die,
I was gonna
and they
ask
don't
you
want
about
that
that.
death record to be added to their tally,
I
so
was
they
going
get
to
rid
ask
of
you
them.
about that. It seems so obvious to me
Mhm.
that oh, that's tragic. I
Yeah,
can't
especially with Representative Joaquin Castro being involved. If he's involved, and I've worked with him off and on throughout the last decade, if he's involved, then it's a very serious case. So,
So, he's involved, they dropped them off, and I had a feeling you were going to tell me that. That he's
yeah.
probably not doing very well, and
Well,
they don't
let's hope that I don't know where they were dropped off, but let's hope that somebody so there's all these non-governmental organizations on the South Side that look for these people to help them. So hopefully, and especially that Mr. Castro, Representative Castro is involved. He probably has people looking for them as well, I would imagine. So
Yeah. So, oh, don't apologize. Somebody had don't worry. I mean, we all have to stick together and, don't and it's someone had asked a question about do we know for certain that, um, that what, Jim Acosta had published was true, which was that they deported Juan and his mother, and
my understanding is they deported him.
they
That's the
did,
latest
yes,
news. Yeah.
yes. I just said at a certain point, there are certain people, you do have to trust some people, and I do trust Jim
Mm.
Acosta. Um, and I also trust that if he had misinformation, that he would also come back and let us know. He wouldn't
Yeah.
just put that out there.
No, no, no. Jim Acosta's not
Um,
that way. Yeah.
no, he is not. I truly am so grateful to him.
That's why
So
they got rid of him.
yeah, no doubt. Exactly. So, talking a little bit about the SAVE Act and what we know about the structure and whatever of the SAVE Act. I just wanted to, and then we're going to get into the bitch session
Okay.
because we have lots of things to bitch about the patriarchy. But this is a form of the patriarchy with the SAVE Act. And I just want to make sure that everybody is on the same page and that they have a clear understanding of what this means. Because I have been on a rant about this with anyone who will talk to me about it, even within my personal social media things. Some of the um, rich, snooty people that, and I'm just saying it. And if they ever see this, then whatever, I don't care because that's who they are. And who are posting things like, I have to have an ID to buy Benadryl. I have to have an ID to fly. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
but to buy Benadryl is not a constitutional right.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen Bud, which is
It's
exactly
not
what
a
I said.
constitutional right to drive a car. And it's not a constitutional, well, it is a constitutional right to own a gun, so you could
It's
argue
not a
that, but
constitutional right to fly, because
yeah.
that was another thing, which of course they sound so like idiots. People have to have the right ID to fly, but
Well, but let's talk about
let's
that
talk
just for a
about the
second.
real ID.
The real ID to fly,
Yes.
though, is I just put out on Substack, reposted somebody who said, yeah, so I don't have a real ID and I'm flying today and I had to pay $45 and it's one way. So you have to do it both times. If you want to get back home, you have to pay another $45. And you would think that $45 is to necessitate some kind of questioning and putting you in secondary to make sure that you are okay to fly. And no, all she had to do was pay her $45 to the kiosk or whatever, print out a receipt that she paid it, and then present it to TSA, who did no more inspection of this woman
There we go.
and let her, it is a grift. And
Yep.
so you could just pay. You don't get any more inspection. So that tells you this is not actually about national security.
It is not about national security.
Yeah.
And the other part I would just like to mention about this, because it's really important. The other part is people say, well, okay, so in the state of Ohio, which is where I live, I have always, since the time I was 18, from the time I was able to vote, I have always had to produce an ID. My driver's license was always sufficient. When I walk in, I say my name, I state my residence, I show them my driver's license, they take a look at my driver's license, which confirms my residence, and I have to sign on, a line in a book. Fi
Mhm.
That's what I have always had to do. Okay. That being said, when I called my so understand that, a real ID does not denote citizenship, and
Nope.
that's really important for people to understand. Nowhere on my identification on my real ID does it state that I'm an American citizen? And it is possible, correct, Jen, for permanent residents who are not citizens to get a real ID to
I
drive.
don't know.
Well, it is.
Okay. If
Yeah.
you say it is and you
Well,
researched
I
it, then
looked that up, and it's
I
possible.
trust you.
Well, so I mean, it's just because then that person can use it to fly or whatever, right? Because it's required to fly. But so it does not denote citizenship. It might in some states. I am not. I am not familiar with every single state, but my understanding from all of the research that I've done is that real IDs, and I know in the state of Ohio, the real ID does not denote citizenship. So what
Okay,
does
I'm
that
looking it
mean?
up while you talk.
So what does that mean, guys? I'll tell you what it means. I called, you can use a passport too. Yes. So, um, but here's the thing. That's where it gets into narrowing the vote for marginalized populations, which I have worked with for decades. people who are living 200% below poverty level, families who don't have passports because they don't have any money and they're not flying. Okay.
Mhm.
They'll have a driver's license. Great. But that doesn't work anymore. So married women who have taken their husband's last names are
Mhm.
going to be particularly disenfranchised by this because
Mhm.
their a driver's license is not sufficient. That might be sufficient. So they can't just go grab their birth certificate because here's the rub. The birth certificate, if they took their husband's last name, does not match their ID. So where a man could just go grab
Mhm.
his birth certificate will match his ID that he shows if he shows his driver's license. A female, however, who took her husband's last name will
Or
show
wife's last name.
or what thank you, I'm sorry, or wife's last name. I was not trying to be sexist here.
No,
A
I know you're not, but some
no, it's
some
important.
same-sex
So
couples do
so
that.
a
So
woman who
even a gay man, if a gay man takes his
well, that's
husband's
right, you know
last
what?
name.
You're right. So
Yeah, so yeah.
any person who takes their spouse's last name, if they show up with their regular driver's license and their birth certificate, those 2 documents do not match
Mhm.
to register to vote. So this
Mhm.
is and what's going to happen then is they're not going to be able to be registered and be put on the voter roll because those 2 documents are not sufficient because they don't match. So they're going to have to either amend their birth certificate or get a
Which
passport or
takes a long time
which takes a long time or get a
and money.
passport. Or get a passport. Now, I'll tell you because I looked this up. Passports are $165. And let's be real here. So a new passport holder to go get a brand new passport if you've never had a passport, I researched this, $165. So I'm just trying to say to you right now, people who are don't have money, who are barely making rent and trying to provide groceries for their kids are not going to spend 100 they don't have it. It's not even because they don't want to. They're not going to go spend $165 on a passport. Why are you furrowing your brow?
Oh, no, I just it's just absurd
Oh, I
that
thought you were
they
going to
no,
say
no, that they think
okay.
people can afford this stuff in this economy. I do let me go back real quick to, the law offices of Peter Darwin Chew. I'm looking at it. It says, that real IDs, no, absolutely do not prove your citizenship.
Yes, they
It
don't.
says the misunderstanding the purpose of a real ID can lead to significant, completely unavoidable complications. They see it happen all the time. The point of the real ID is to prove who you are in front of them at the time.
It's
And at
the
the same time,
documentation of identity and
yeah, like this is who I am, you can
residency,
see me. Yeah.
as well as
And
residency. Do you live in the state of Ohio for different
mhm.
Yes, yes, I do, and here's my ID, and this is my address. It is
But
not
the other thing too,
citizenship.
Lisa, is that as they're saying they're gonna have ICE agents, meaning all immigration enforcement agents, question people's citizenship when they're
Right,
in line to vote, which is I have been telling people this for over a year, this is what they're gonna do. And somebody wrote to me today and said, "As usual, you're right about this." And the the problem is even if there was a document, let's just say that the real ID did prove US citizenship. Let's just say that. But what we've seen is when people have the real ID and they give it to immigration agents, the immigration agents say, "Well, how do I know that you really got this real ID
that's
with
right,
real documents?" And
right.
so they even question the legitimacy of that real ID. They'll even question the legitimacy of your passport. And
Yep,
they have the legal right to do that. So they pull you out of line. And by the time they're done with you, those polls are going to be closed.
yep, that's exactly right. So we need to stand up against this. We don't I'm well, don't hate someone said, "I hate our world." Um, I don't hate our whole world, I hate the patriarchy, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
that I hate the elite white men who are, so insecure that they're afraid of, losing power, and
Well, they can't win, so they have to cheat.
Right.
And that's what they're doing is they know that their policies are underwater. They know that nobody in this country, even MAGA, is starting to turn on Donald Trump. People are turning on Donald Trump and his immigration. Even the people who voted for the mass deportation are saying, "This is not what you said it was gonna be." So and now they're gonna use it against Americans, and, yeah, nobody likes this shit. So they're just gonna ignore all that.
Oh, but we need to do and this is why they need to shut down the
Mhm.
DHS, it and we need to start all
It's a
over again
terrorist
from the start.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's overthrowing the
it is.
country, it's violating the Constitution, and it is a domestic terrorist organization, and everybody in that agency, even if you've not participated in any of these actions and you're just sitting at a desk, you should be standing up and saying something about this. You should be resigning right now like I did many years ago. That's the end of it.
Yeah, I would agree. The other thing I wanted to hear of, just so they can see that the issue behind this, first of all, it is the for a non-citizen to vote in our federal elections.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
it is a felony,
Mhm.
and that is the reason, and it has serious repercussions associated with for it. You can be jailed, become a national a a
Mhm.
citizen ever. So aside from that, um, the Heritage Foundation themselves conduct 24-year
Mhm.
period of time. I want to tell you, found how many non-citizen voters were in the fraudulent
Yep.
they turned up. Less than 70, friends.
So
Less
that's where we're
than
gonna it's the same kind of idea that they do with immigration. It's like because one migrant killed, like in Riley and
Lincoln
and
Riley.
yeah,
Yes.
and because a
It's the
few
same
a
thing.
few migrants have done this, because a small percentage of migrants have done this, then we got to get rid of all migrants. Well, because a small percentage of non-citizens, an extremely minority, have actually voted, then
It's literally statistical
yeah,
dust.
it
I mean, that's how I referred to it, saying that it should have happened. But when you're talking about over a 24-year period,
mhm.
less than and by the way, we all know the Heritage Foundation is not exactly liberal, right? This is a far right
Project
think tank
2025 is
that is
Heritage Foundation.
that was the authors and the architects of that were experiencing. We all know that for the Heritage Foundation to find that less than 70, like that's not coming. I mean, and we know if
Oh, they'd be
they had
talking about it
more than
left and
that,
right, yeah.
they'd be talking about it left and right. So, but they've got everybody snobby, wealthy white people that I used to know and used to be friends with who are online, talking about how, well, I have to use my ID for Benadryl. God, you're so ignorant. They are coming to take our vote. They're coming to put us under their thumbs, and you're just going along right with it and propping up the patriot.
Yeah, and it's the same
Maybe,
MO, the same modus operandi of of
yeah,
of the Republicans, where they take something and they blow it out of proportion to justify then somebody called it a blanket covering of a and that's exactly what they do. They've done this with abortion. They're gonna do it with voting rights. They've done this with immigration. They've done this with
yes.
everything where they're like, "Oh my god, this one thing happened and now we have to," Donald Trump even did it with bringing the military into Washington DC. One of his
They're doing
boys
it about everything.
supposedly got beaten by somebody, and then the whole city is blanketed by military. This is the same
Yeah,
MO.
by the way, that guy that got beaten was the big balls
Yeah, the
guy
big
that
balls.
was responsible for going, if you guys remember that guy, that
Doge.
was the guy. Yes, that was the guy that got snuck in with Doge when they took when they when the first real coup actually occurred was the end of January, beginning of February.
Mhm.
That is when they snuck in and locked everybody out, and our own congressional representatives could not get in
They
to
create all
our
these fake
agency.
crises, and then they
Yes.
pretend to solve them as this is how they do it, so, yeah.
Yes. So let's make sure that we're doing every single thing we can locally. I agree. Someone said people are waking up, but it's not fast enough or big enough. I don't, so but that, you know what? So let's do every single thing that we can. I heard somebody say before, if you have one of these, mine doesn't say badass on it, so I'm not as cool as Jen, but we all knew I'm not as cool as Jen. I accept that. I'm actually kind of a dork, but I don't care about that. I accept that too. So if you have one of these and you're on any social media platform, you don't have to get argumentative. Just post truth, post the facts, stand up to people that are posting bullshit. You know, I always say if you see something, and there's ways to have a civil discussion. Like I actually interjected in this group, and even though it pained me to do so, and I wanted to like, "Grr," um, I did so in a way that was, actually, um, brought on quite a huge dialogue and discussion among a lot of people. And believe it or not, I actually did open some eyes. People were like, "Oh, I had no idea. Oh, I"
Mm.
so does that mean they're gonna change their mind and they're gonna get out in the streets and stand up against any of this? No. But what I did share with them was what happened to me. And then all of a sudden, they started getting a little concerned, which was I called my own representative, which I was going to do for you guys now, just to see what that looks like in case anybody has never called their rep. But I don't want to waste time. But I don't want to waste anybody's time, but I want to show you because for me to describe it is actually, it's unbelievable. Like y it sounds unbelievable because people are like, "Oh, come on. She's over
Mhm,
exaggerating.
mhm.
There's no way that's really how that she handled it." So I don't wanna waste your time, but I'm just gonna tell you, this is how it went for me. "Hi, I understand Representative Latta voted for the SAVE Act in the House." "Yes, yes, he did." "Can you explain to me why he voted for it?" I want to understand. Well, because it's very important that we make sure that that illegal aliens. I love when they use this dehumanizing language. I don't love it, by the way, but we want to make sure that that illegal aliens are not voting in our elections because that is an issue. Sir, it's actually not an issue. Then I bring up the Heritage Foundation. Then he's like, "Oh shit, she actually knows what she's talking about." So
Mm.
I say to him, "Could you let me know?" I go, "Okay, so you clearly believe in this. Could you please tell me if my real ID qualifies me to vote in federal elections?" Jen, I shit you not, he wouldn't answer my question
Yeah,
for over 5 minutes. He
'cause he
told
knows it's not gonna be enough.
he told me to go do my own research.
Yeah, yeah.
I said,
It's he
"I'm a
knows it's gonna be
constituent."
on you to prove because in
Yes.
immigration law, unlike criminal law, so in criminal law, we know the saying, "You're innocent until proven guilty," and you do not have to prove your innocence. The government has to prove your guilt. That's how it works in the United States. But in immigration law, you have to prove that you are a citizen, and there is no way to prove that to an immigration agent who does not believe you. You will be okay, Lisa, because you forward present as a white woman to
I
most
do.
white people,
Most people
even
think
though you're
that
Puerto
I am.
Rican.
That's
Yeah.
I may or may not be okay until I get up there and they see my
And
name is
open your mouth.
Gonzalez. Well, that actually but well, until I get up and they see my last name's Gonzalez, because
Oh, yeah.
I wanna tell you guys about something that actually happened to me. So, I was married I'm on my 2nd marriage. I was married I changed my name the first time, even though I didn't well, actually, I made my maiden name my middle name. Okay. I got married I kept my married name when I got a divorce because my children were still my children. They were children, and, they were in their teens, and I still wanted to have the same last name as my kids.
Mm,
So then afterwards, I got remarried. I said, "You know what? I know I'm gonna have to do my, passport. It's such a pain in the ass for women to have to change all their stuff. So I'm just gonna wait until I have to till my passport is going to be expiring, and then I'm just gonna
Mhm.
put my name back to my regular what my God-given name, Lisa Gonzalez, and then I'm gonna move on with my life. I'm not taking your last name, which he's like, "I don't think you should," which is why I married this man. So, like, I'm
I was
keeping
just too lazy to change my name,
yeah,
so,
well, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm keeping my damn name. Okay, so in order to do that, so then I go and I have to change all my stuff. Turns out I actually never physically changed my name with Social Security.
Oh.
So here's me walking around being Lisa Gonzalez at Social Security, but I had a driver's license for 20 years with my married last name on it.
Mhm,
So they're like,
mhm,
"Well, it's finally catching up to you." I'm like, okay, I'm not a criminal." Like, I didn't know that was even a thing. I didn't even so I put everything back. I go to the um I go to get my driver's license, and they say that it'll be sent to you. They'll be sent
mhm,
to you with your real name on it, right? It never
mhm,
comes. It never comes. I don't get my driver's license. So now I'm carrying around my piece of paper that they gave me that's only good for, I don't know, 20 some days, right? So
mhm,
I go, uh-oh, I'm bumping up against the legal, um, what's legal on my paper, and they never sent my ID. And I look
mm.
online and it said they sent your ID. They sent it. They said they sent it. Now, this is the kind of shit that they pull, and I believe this with people with the last name of Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
So I then go to the DMV, and the woman explains to me that she's like, yeah, she goes, I said, listen, I was looking for my ID. They're like, well, it comes in a plain envelope with your name. I'm like, yes. So when a person receives her mail and she's looking for her driver's license, she is not just going to throw that piece of paper out, right?
I like how they try and blame it on you. It's
Yeah,
like, when your cable goes out and they're like, "Did you unplug it and plug it back in?" Yes!
yeah, exactly. So the woman, I said to the woman who was African American, she was the manager, God bless her. And I said to her, listen, do you think I need to change my name to my, like, white husband's name so that I get less trouble? Like, is that a thing? And she's like, "No, I would not do that." I go, "Well, I don't wanna do it." I go, "But look what's happening. Like, this is
Mm,
crazy." And
mhm,
she's like, "No, she goes, "You know what you can do? You can actually have your ID mailed directly here to the DMV, and then we have to log it, and then we call you to tell you to come pick it up. So I'll give you a brand new paper that gives you legal rights, privileges to drive. Keep your old ID with you, and then we'll call you as soon as it comes in." So we're not done. So it comes in, and I go pick it up. I also said, "Oh, that's right. Since I changed my name back to Gonzalez, I need to change my name on the voter rolls." "No
mm.
problem," she says. "We can do that right here for you." "Are
Right.
you sure?" "Yes," she says, "we can." Well, the state of Ohio passed a law with our attorney general that anybody who registers to vote at the DMV, follow me here, guys, because this is the way it goes. So anybody who registers to vote with the DMV now they have to go through a proof of citizenship, air quotes, um, requirement that they don't just send it directly to your local voting roll. They actually send it to the state, who has to verify your citizenship. And they say nobody explains what that verification process looks like. Nobody knows. They don't explain it. The attorney general's just like, "Yes, we're going to make sure it's secure and we're going to make sure blah blah." Okay, so I'm the test case. And they're like, it's electronically sent to the state. They look it up, and then they verify your okay. So let me tell you what happened. Is it wise of me to share my middle name? Because it's like,
No.
okay, so let's just throw out, so Lisa blank Gonzalez, whatever, Lisa middle name Gonzalez, let's say that's my middle name, is electronically sent to the Ohio
Let's
DMV.
call you Lisa Chingona
Chingona.
Gonzalez.
I like it. Lisa Chingona Gonzalez. Lisa Chingona Gonzalez, that's my middle name for now, gets sent to the DMV to verify my citizenship. And then I will receive my official voting card, that I'm registered to vote in my county. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
didn't come for a long time. And then it finally came. And it didn't say Lisa Chingona Gonzalez like it was supposed to, friends. Do you know what it said? Now, I want to understand how they could change it if it went electronically based on what my ID said, right?
Yeah.
And instead of being Lisa Chingona Gonzalez, I was Lisa Gonzalez Gonzalez.
Oh man.
So that and it
Jeez.
and it comes on a postcard, right? And I
Now you
call.
got to go back through and fix that
Now
mistake.
I had to go, and I had to go to my local voting, and I'm like, "Why did this happen? How could this happen?" And she said, "I have no idea, but that is the law now that not when you could go register directly at your board of elections, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't send it in Ohio. They don't send it to the state. But
But they do
because
if you
if
do it at
at
the
the driver's
DMV.
license, because most people get their registration at the DMV, and then it gets now in Ohio, I don't know how it is in every other state. In Ohio, it then gets it's crazy talk. It's crazy making, and it's all, in my mind, designed to narrow. I got kicked off the voting roll, right? Because if I would have shown up with my ID, which said Lisa Chingona Gonzalez, they would look and this was before the last election, and they would say, "Oh, this does not match. We're going
I'm
to
I'm laughing at Genevieve's comment.
what
Genevieve. Yes, I know a little bit of French. Um, she said you had said it doesn't come for a long time, meaning your driver's license. I just lost the feed.
Oh,
It was
okay.
really funny. She goes, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Where'd she go?
Ooh.
Oh man, she said it doesn't come for a long time, but when it comes, it's really hard. That's what she said. It was like, good
Oh, I love this
one.
discussion. That was a good one. And
That
Lynette
was a good
said,
one.
this is really interesting, guys. Lynette said she gets kicked off the voting rolls all the time because she's registered as an independent voter.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. I don't
And
know. I
I
think
am
I'm registered
too, by the
independent.
way.
Yeah. I might be
So
registered Democrat. I'm not sure.
So I just really think that this is super important for us to talk about, guys. And I'm only sharing this with you. Call your reps and press them to
Yeah.
if you have reps, and so even if you don't have reps, if you have Democratic reps who didn't vote for this, right? Still call them and get their take on it because they'll tell you the truth. But I'm telling you, the Republican reps are not telling me that they are not being truthful with the information when I'm asking them, they won't tell me. So it took me 5 minutes to get the dude to actually tell me that my real ID wouldn't work. Then he actually and the reason I got him to do it is because he told me a passport would. So when I asked him about real
Wow.
ID, he goes, you're gonna have to do your own research."
If
So
you're going to pass a law that limits my constitutional rights, you better be able to fucking explain it to me, even if you are a staffer.
that's right. Well, and then
And pay your salary.
Then when I asked him about, I specifically said, I go, okay, so what about I'm married? I mean, he didn't know that my name had not. I said, so what if my married name, I go, what if my married name is not the same that's on my birth certificate? Then what happens? He wouldn't answer the question. And that's
Yeah.
why I was going to try to
Yeah.
call so you guys could hear what actually what this is what people are dealing with across the country. Um,
Yeah.
Absolutely what they're dealing with across the country. So continue to press on this, guys. And also, what I'm thinking about is I have contemplated: do we start a national, like, crowd-funded, sourced, nonprofit sort of thing where people can share funds so that we can actually help people
That's a good
obtain their
idea. Help them
passport.
purchase their documents so that they
Yes,
can prove they're,
yes,
registered to vote.
because I'm real
That's a good thing to do locally, is crowdfund so that people can purchase their documents,
I'm
especially
thinking if we
older
did it
people and stuff like
nationally,
that. Mhm.
I think we could do it nationally, and then I mean, I have to look into that, but anybody that is interested in doing that, knows anything about it, or wants to participate in that, please let me know, reach out to me, DM me, whatever, but I just wanna make sure people are going to be able to that they're going to honor people's constitutional right to vote.
I think
Period.
it's important for many of us who are independent or Democratic, liberal or progressive or Republican, conservative, and not on board with all this shit, because there's plenty of those too now. I think
There are.
it's important to go volunteer so that you can watch these things. I think it's important in the areas where this is gonna be affected because obviously they're gonna be very targeted. This is the reason why they're doing ICE deportations only in certain cities. Those are the cities that they're gonna target. So they're gonna target Chicago in the Black and Latino neighborhoods. They're gonna target LA, they're gonna target Minneapolis, they're gonna target all that's the whole point of the mass deportation is to do this voting, operation that they're gonna do. And so, I think it's also gonna be important in those areas, in the polling places, where people are lined up that if you look like me and your last name isn't Gonzalez, maybe it's Bud or something Smith or something close to that, and you feel okay in doing this. I mean, obviously, some of us have risks that we can't take, and others do. So, your job would be to go vote as early as you can and then stand outside and start trying to create a perimeter for those who are standing in line waiting. At the very least, you need to document what's going on. You need a video and
That's a
put it out
great
live
idea,
so
yeah.
that we know what's going on. You need to show them if they start taking people of color away. We wanna make sure that this is documented and everything, because the whole point of this is to cause so much confusion about if the right people are
Yes.
voting. It's not necessarily even to win, although that's a part of it. It's to cause the confusion so that then Donald Trump can do the same thing that he did on all these other elections. Um,
And
he no
inspired and encouraged and, set up an insurrection on
Yeah.
J6 and then turned around and set up a website that completely lying about what happened on J6. I'm over it.
Yeah, we know that they're gonna do everything they possibly can. We know what the game plan is. I mean, even when Trump ran in the very first time against Hillary Clinton, Roger Stone already had a PAC called Stop the Steal. They
Right.
just didn't need it in the first election. And it always confused me why the press wouldn't has never pointed this out, but he actually started the Stop the Steal pack way back, before 2016. And so we're looking at 10 years of the same plan where he just sits and complains like a white man that everything's unfair to him, and he's just had the hardest time as a, millionaire and given all this money, and everything's so hard for him to get things done in life. But the truth is this is just how white men always are. They just bitch and complain about every little thing, and they so much as have to lift a finger to do anything, then they will whine and complain until everybody gets so fucking tired of listening to them that they just give up.
Yeah,
So
we
don't
can't
give
give up.
up.
I'm not giving
Don't give
up.
up.
Don't give
Don't
up.
give up.
That's right. That's what this is about. This is about not giving up. Also,
Mhm.
so now moving into go ahead, call your reps, making sure can we talk a little bit about some of these what's the word? What's the word? I don't even
Incels?
Yes.
These are the guys. So I was born in 1971. I was in high school in the 90s, in the early 90s. College in the mid-90s, early to mid-90s. I'm sorry, high school in the '80s, college in the '90s. these are the guys that were picked on by the football players, that everybody laughed at, that none of the girls would fuck, that all this other stuff is going on, and then they became computer geniuses and all this other stuff. And then these guys like Fuentes are guys that couldn't even become computer geniuses. They're like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk to me, out of everything that everybody says about that man, it's like, oh, he was this, he was a good Christian, he went and debated kids on campus and this. You know what Charlie Kirk was? Charlie Kirk was a man who couldn't get into, I believe it was West Point he was trying to get into, and when he couldn't get into West Point as a white man, he blamed it on all of the women and the people of color that they had to bring in because of DEI. So what did he do after that? Then
Oh,
he decided,
pobrecita.
pobrecito. Yeah, that means poor baby in Spanish. And
Yeah.
so he made a career out of his grievances. He made a career going to college campuses and telling everybody how unfair everything was. That's where his racism comes from, is because, or came from, because he could not understand why West Point did not want his scraggly ass, his racist scraggly ass. And so then he made a career out of it. And basically, he went to colleges and he debated young adults who were younger than him, and he just spread racist gobbledygook because he was not able to get into West Point. That his entire grievance became his entire political career,
Yep.
and that is all he was, is a white man grieving about how life was unfair to him, and that's what Fuentes is.
Yes,
What
I
do they
want to
call his
read to you
groups?
guys
Roipers or some shit like that? I don't
Groypers.
even know what the
So,
hell
okay,
that
it's
is.
called Groypers. You know what? And I am so over the whole notion of all of their double entendre, irony, meme culture bullshit. I'm going to tell you who that guy reminds me of. I just have to tell you. Nick Flint. Okay, I don't know how old any of the people are on this or if you have children, but anybody on this chat or that's watching, if you have kids and you have ever seen the movie, um, Toy Story, Nick Fuentes is Sid, the kid who like tore apart all the Barbies and tore apart all the toys and blew all the toys up and ruined everybody's life. And he was super scary and he stomped around and wreaked havoc on humanity. That or the toy humanity. That is who Nick Fuentes is. Nick Fuentes' mommy never put him in timeout or spanked him. And frankly, she should have because that guy is like off the rails. I would
He's
be,
Eddie Haskell, for those of you who are
he
older.
is
He's
Eddie. Yeah,
Eddie Haskell.
he is. Okay, better than even Sid, maybe. He is Eddie.
No,
Yeah.
just a different generation, but it's just a angry little man who's
Angry.
always angry at everybody, just a
Yeah.
piece of shit.
He
Yeah,
is,
just
and
like
I just want to oh yeah, he was the guy, so when, they rolled back Roe v. Wade, he was the idiot that was on there going, "Your body, my choice, ha, 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 ha." I'm so
yeah, because nobody wants to screw him, so he has to
well, there
apparently
yeah,
sexually
that's
assault women. So
absolutely
yeah,
true. Absolutely true.
that's
So
Fuentes,
I want to read that was from a Tom Hartman article that
the
he
angry
verified.
inch.
The angry inch, someone called him. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So, I want to read to make sure that people know this because this was an article by that I had actually seen, which just fired me up. That Jenn had restacked from Tom Hartman, where it was verified that this is what Nick Fuentes said. Women get sent to the gulags first, obviously. Which women? All women. Every woman. Every woman and girl is sent to the gulags. We will determine who the good ones are after the fact. Well, what about the good ones? What about the trad ones? First of all, there are no trad ones or good ones. Second of all, we will determine which ones are acceptable after they're all imprisoned. Then we will let them out. Now, here's my question. Why the hell does this guy have influence on anything? Why is he at any table? Why are the Republicans so afraid of this loser? And why is anyone bending a knee to this creep? Can somebody explain this to me? Does anybody know?
He says the things out loud that many of them want to say, I think is the big thing with Fuentes. And
Okay,
so,
so let's say the things out loud that many women want to say about men like him, but
yeah.
don't.
Okay, if 95% of rapists are men, then why don't we just put you all in cages first?
I, thank you. I feel like that makes more sense.
It does make more sense, but at the same time, it's not right. It's not just. So that's
Someone
why we
said,
don't
pretty
do it.
sure
But I
we
mean,
don't
it's like,
really
come
wanna do
on.
that. We don't want but someone also, I would just like to say, um, I raised 2 young men who are young adults, who are good people, who do not believe and I'm married to a great I'm not against man. They don't believe this shit though, and they also don't put that kind of information out there, and
No, but I
women
believe it's why it's important to press our congressional members to have amendments to the Constitution because unfortunately our Constitution says all men are created equal, and we know
right,
what they meant at that time. So I don't think it's enough to sit there and say, well, now when we say in today's language all men are created equal, we mean women as well, we mean black people as well, and this and that. It's not
all
enough to
people.
say that.
Just
It's
think
not
to say
enough to
all
just say that.
no,
No, it has to be written that women have
yeah.
equal rights, that they have control over their own bodies,
Because
and
go figure, the ERA never passed, guys. Can I okay, just wanna mention that to everybody, so everybody understands this and that you know this. The ERA never passed, and all they ultimately wanted to do was change a sentence, right?
yeah, yeah,
A
and a lot
sentence.
of men will say when you bring up the ERA still, because it's still out there, people are still trying to get it passed, is they will say, "Well, then you're gonna have to go to war," and it's like,
They're already
"Okay."
in war.
They're already in war, and so it's like, okay, I
Alright.
would have voted for the ERA when I was younger, had it been up for a vote when I could vote, even if it said I had to go and serve my country, because
Women are
obviously
all
I
you know
served
what?
my country.
That doesn't mean that women I mean, listen, here's the other
But they
part.
think that women will be like, "No, I don't wanna
Oh my god, don't start the war. I mean, listen, war is hell, but let's just, also give credit where credit is due to when they have sent men to war, like, let's talk about World War II. Women
Mm.
stepped up to the plate, friends. My great-grandmother riveted airplanes during World War II. Okay,
Women
so
have always been in war. Women were in the Civil War. Women were in the Revolutionary War. These wars don't exist without women being in them.
that's right. So the notion of trying to scare women away with the ERA is insane, and we need to just like, I'm over it. I'm just like, I've had it
But a lot of
up
these
to here.
bringing up the ERA, I wanna bring up, like, women's groups, uh, gosh, RAINN is a group that focuses on sexual assault
Okay.
against women, against men too, but sexual assault, against women, and I remember they wrote to me once about one of my Border Patrol rape culture pieces, and they said, "Would you mind putting a link to our thing? Because you were talking about rape victims and sexual assault victims," and I said, "I would love to, as soon as you help me expose the rape culture of the Border Patrol," and it was like, "Mwah." So,
Really?
we're not gonna talk about that, and that is the problem with these women's groups that have been around pushing these things is they only go so far,
Yeah, yeah.
and, yeah, they won't
Then
talk
let's start
about
a
the
women's group and go and I wanna call it the Great American Bitches.
okay, I like that. Can we track the judges that let rapists go and the police officers who investigate rapes and don't do good jobs? We need to be doing that
You
too
know
if we're
what?
gonna
Jen,
address all this.
I'm not kidding you. I really feel like I feel like we, you, me, and a bunch of citizen journalists would have the opportunity, a bunch of citizens and Americans, American women and men could create an organization that could do all these different things, and we could be part of something great because that's how they're getting this done with the Epstein files. People are all these people like Ellie from the Panicked Writer. Why am I not the Ellie Leonard? She's
Mhm.
fabulous, but she is the person that she had a bunch. She downloaded all these files from Epstein files, and she had some of her subscribers are just going into the files she has and helping look. As a matter of fact, that's how somebody identified Cohen, that email that from Cohen, which I don't even want to get into, but they found some interesting things out of the emails, out of the Epstein files, because she had people. I really think that we could set something up where we have different groups of people that have skills in different things, helping track judges, helping keep it in a database,
We have
helping.
to do that kind of stuff, and we have to do all this because our journalists, haven't been doing it for decades, and they're not going to do it. I mean, all the stuff I've written and talked about, it's all forward facing. It's not like I'm getting anything secret. You just have to do the research. They just refuse to do it.
Right. So, but I think that if we created something that, and we have people, other citizens, because there's lots of people going, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? This is one of the things that you could help us do.
Wait, Emma says, please don't track judges, etc., who let rapists go, etc. We need to support the judiciary. Structural change is beyond necessary, but we need to be careful how we do it. Fuck that, Emma. Fuck that. No, too many women in this country have been sexually assaulted. Too many people in this country have been sexually assaulted, and these judges, time and time again, let these offenders go.
You
And
can't. And as
no,
somebody that worked
the
in,
judiciary is part of the problem, Emma. And so, no, we're not going to do that.
yeah,
We've been, I'm going to tell you, Emma is a 55-year-old woman who has lived the rape culture of the Border Patrol, who has lived the rape culture of the United States of America. Um, what we used to do in the 80s and 90s is stay silent about it. And guess where it's gotten us? Absolutely fucking
no.
nowhere. So, no,
No.
mm-mm,
And I'm done
not
waiting
going
our
to do it.
turn. We keep being told, "Just wait your turn. Just wait your turn. Wait until the
No,
next time." It's the same thing that's going on, with
in the immigration world, it's the same thing
And
everywhere.
Jasmine Crockett. I'm hearing
Yeah.
so many. I mean, okay, I'd also say I equally think I think Tallarico's great. I do. But it, I love Jasmine Crockett. I love
Hmm.
Jasmine Crockett. So, uh I'm hearing people say, "Well, she's never gonna win because it's so racist there." And I'm like, "No, no, no, no. That is absolutely not true. Look at
Have to keep
Mondani.
trying.
Look at
Yeah,
Mondani.
look at Mom Donnie. Yeah.
Look at Mondani, who won New York." You know
Mhm.
what? Passion matters. And I gotta tell you, when it comes down to it for me, if they have all of the qualifications and they are equally as good as the other candidate, and I'm thinking, wow, they're both great. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going for the woman. I'm just doing it. I am like 100% behind Jasmine Crockett and everything that she stands for because she is fighting very, very hard, I believe.
Until she proves to me she's not, I understand there's issues with APAC and this and that, and that's
Did she get
problematic.
APEC funds?
I don't wanna I don't know 100%, maybe somebody could say on here, but my
Okay.
understanding is yes, but sure
Okay.
she won't
Well, I
talk
would also
about it.
like to say that no one should get APEC funds. I'm
Yeah.
just going to say that. Or any dark money. I'm
And
over it.
I think when it comes down to it, in our primaries, we can vote for who we really want, and
Yes.
that's what we need to. And then obviously, when it comes down to the general elections, we're going to have to pick the lesser of two evils, just like we always have to. But the idea that we can't put progressives in there, we can't put women in there, we can't put black women in there,
To
or
appease to appease the greater electorate. I'm over it, you guys. Because
yeah,
here's the thing. When they talk about that, Waj Ali on Left Hook talks about this all the time about how the Overton window has gone so far to the right that
hmm,
it is so incredibly conservative all the way, like, that's the window. It's so
hmm,
incredibly conservative, and, there's still not a place for women, and still not a
hmm,
place for women of color, and still not
hmm,
a place for marginalized populations, not just women, but LGBTQ populations.
Mhm.
people with disabilities,
Yeah.
people who are immigrants, people who are brown and black. Like, I'm over it. We have to step up to the plate. We have to press these people and make sure that they're hearing from us every day. And maybe we need to start something, Jen. But also tell them what happened to you. I want you to share about your interview, your fabulous interview. That wasn't. This is what the patriarchy looks like, guys.
So, KALW in San Francisco did a big interview with Todd Miller and myself. They saw Todd and I being interviewed about the HBO critical incident film on Democracy Now! So they asked both of us if we would interview with them, and we said, yeah, sure. And
Pause
it
for a
was a
minute. I just wanna say because
okay.
we've s just only wanna pause, sorry to interrupt, only to say Critical Incident is a documentary that Jen was a part of on HBO, and it also
Hmm.
streams on Amazon, and it's called Critical Incident: Death at the Border. It's fabulous. If you wanna understand what goes on behind the scenes and how people are allowed to get away with things like what happened with Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy. Watch Critical Incident. Jen's a part of it. Just in case anybody that's on here isn't aware of it yet. Sorry, I wanted to give a plug for that because
Oh,
it's
it's okay.
fabulous. Okay, go ahead.
I'm really bad about plugging myself
Well, I'll
and
do it.
asking for subscriptions and all that kind of stuff. But so essentially, it was a really great interview, and it just flowed really well. Todd has more of he's a writer and a researcher, and then outside of the patrol, and then just me being inside of the patrol, and then and 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 he almost made me cry. Well, he did make me cry actually because he said this is why this interview was so important to me is I wanted to copy it. I wanted my wife to hear it because he said that my work on the critical incident teams and exposing that they never had the legal right to exist and that they were cover-up teams was instrumental to academics like himself understanding the reality and the truth of the border patrol and how come nobody's ever convicted or held accountable in the border patrol. And it wasn't until I came forward and so it just meant a lot to me because I often don't feel seen
Mhm.
or heard. And so it meant a great deal to me. And then it didn't come out and I sent him an email, Nina Kissinger. I sent her, she's the producer on it. I said, "Can you tell me when it's gonna be put out?" Because it went out live on the radio. It was live on the radio, and then it was supposed to be recorded. They put up a page on their website about it that we were the guest and who we were. But that one page, out of all their other pages of interviews they've done, doesn't have a play icon where you can hit play and listen to the interview. And so I gave it about a week and then I thought maybe 5 days, 5 to 7 days, and then I wrote back and I said, "Thanks for the censorship." Because I asked Todd about it. I said, "Have you heard anything?" He says, "I know, I wrote them and they haven't responded." And so I wrote them and I said, "Thanks for the censorship." It takes a lot for us to get our thoughts together and to come out and do a precise talk because we understand that we're under time limits and make it so that people can understand it. And Todd and I do a lot of work, and I just don't appreciate you wasting my time like this. If you're too scared to put this out there, maybe I talk too much about the rape culture or this or that. You could edit it. It's within your right. You own that interview. You could do that and at least put some of it out. So then they didn't get back to me until, yesterday, I think it was, might have been Monday, and Nina said, "Well, 3 paragraphs. 3 paragraphs of well, we
Bullshit,
didn't w
right?
we yeah, we didn't censor you, we're moving, studios, and I went to look for it, and usually it's put out by our sound engineer, but he didn't do it, so I went to look for it, and then it wasn't there, we lost the whole interview."
Oh.
I sent him screenshots, and I'm like, "The whole fucking dog ate my homework shit." And I'm like, "How are you a professional? You've been doing this for how many years? And you lost the interview?" I mean, I would respect you a little bit more if you said, "Oh, it was, this and that." I would say, if you wanna edit it, like I said, but not a word. And then she's like, "We even wanted to have you back on, so if you wouldn't mind, we'd love to have you back on." But it's like that whole interview was just so good the way it flowed, and you can't recreate it, you can't, I don't wanna seem
Yeah.
fake, I don't wanna and all this other stuff, and I just didn't even reply to her. I'm just not even going to with these people. When all this is over, we should shave their head. But I'm just not gonna go on. But yeah, there's all this self-censorship
Well, let's
that
look
is
at yeah.
going on, especially with it's interesting because I think I told you privately, Lisa, that when I was in Arizona, we were texting that I was talking behind the scenes with MS Now, helping them understand what's going on in immigration and how to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, we really want you to be on," but I couldn't. For that weekend, I was giving talks and I was at a memorial, but I told them, "Okay, I'm gonna try and get back from the memorial and do this." And they're like, "Okay." And then they just were like I was sitting there waiting in my hotel ready, and then they just never had me.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
they
I
said, "Well, we're gonna
remember
have
that.
you the next week." And then they just didn't, and people just are always just like this with me. They, like, think they wanna do it when somebody dies. When Freddie died, they were all like, "Oh, Jen, tell us, tell us." And then when it dies down, they're like, and they
Yeah.
back up and they just don't wanna do it.
But that is why we're still where we are also. I am so pissed at, corporate media, for legacy media, for, not okay, so for example, some of the things that they found in the Epstein files about our actual president should be on the front page
Yeah,
of the New York Times
yeah,
and every other publication that there is, because this
yeah.
story is not I just, what's his okay, so, um check it out at, The Left Hook because Wajah Ali just did an interview with this guy yesterday who wrote about the prominent names that were, in the Epstein files that were actually used in an FBI slideshow. If you guys don't know about this, absolutely go look it up. But I'm just going to tell you that when I see these things, look, I was actually trained in journalism. I went to school. My degree is in communication. I can tell you right here, that is a headline news story. I don't need to have worked for the New York Times to tell you that's a headline news story. Why is it not on the front page of every single paper that about this horrible and I don't even want I they read it and they go into it. We don't need to go into it here. We don't have the time. But go check it out because
I
it's on
wanna
the left
say
hook.
that the reason, Lisa, why you don't see it on everything is because then what will happen to them is what happened to Don Lemon, but at the same time, if all of the news agencies started doing this or most of them reputable
Exactly,
started
on the
doing
nose.
this,
Yes.
then they wouldn't be able to do it and it would overwhelm the administration as it should, and it would force them to have to talk about it.
Oh,
And
I'm so
so
happy. They
yeah.
if this is true, I just saw someone said the UN has I heard that they were thinking about it. The UN has found crimes against humanity in the Trumpstein files. So if they actually did come out and make that statement, if that is true, reported by Aaron Parnas this afternoon.
Well,
Fabulous.
But he speaks the truth. He's like
Yeah,
his dad, Lev. He is speaking the truth, and I do believe Lev is different than Cohen. I believe Lev is generally trying to come forward and atone for his
I do
past,
too. I do
like I
too.
have. And there's always that risk. I understand when people are newly changing their ways. I get that.
Thank you,
Um,
Frida, for sharing that because that's absolutely awesome news to hear.
and then that's
Um,
the thing is Parnas is not both Parnases are not mainstream. So we're talking about like ABC News,
yes.
CBS,
I'm not talking
NBC,
about
New York
independent
Times,
no.
WAPO, that kind of thing. They're
Independent
the
media is where you're getting the truth.
right.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are clueless who are not watching independent media. They're watching corporate legacy stuff. And, I heard they opened a case. They also opened a case into it because of Sasha Riley. Okay. Well, we need to keep shining a light, guys. Shine the light, shine the light. Don't give up. I guess if anything, don't give up. Think about what you're going to do in your local communities. Think about how we can celebrate International Women's Day but in a way where it's not just like Jenn said, oh, I'm just going to throw a couple quotes up from, Susan B. Anthony and Alice Paul and call it a day. No, we need to put our foot on the gas and don't take it off until we stand up and defeat this regime in a peaceful, legal way. I'm not talking about taking up arms or doing illegal things. I am not talking about doing that. I am talking about trying to use our every single aspect because we haven't done all the things that we can do that will fight back. I just saw
Frida's right. Flood their zone. So we
flood
have to
their
say
zone. Yes,
what we want, and we have
yes,
to design it, and we have to create it. If investigators and news agencies aren't going to investigate, like we see with the Epstein files, like you see what I do with the Border Patrol, we need to do that with the rape culture.
yes.
We need to start taking
The
control of all of
patriarchy,
this.
which is the
And
patriarchy, the
mhm.
Epstein class. I love that term, the Epstein class. Start using it everywhere you go. One of my senators posted some bullshit earlier last night about how they're so proud of something with President Trump and whatever. And I responded, oh, and it got 100 likes. He posted, one of the senators, you can't do it made in America without made in Ohio. And the president's historic trade deal and investment in our state will bring job opportunities and lower energy costs for working families. He posts this picture of DJT. My response was, sorry, the actions of the Epstein class speak so loudly we can't hear what they're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
See, these are the things that, and yeah, so now,
This is I want to say, Lisa, before we go. So the Epstein thing is like a honey trap. They used to call it honey traps in the 70s and 80s.
what is
And
a
they,
honey
and
trap?
a honey
I'm in the
trap is
same era
in
as you.
a
I don't know it.
when the government uses women or sex to compromise people. It's a honey trap. It's a
Okay.
classic honey
Okay.
trap. And they've been running it through Epstein. Israeli government has been running this through Epstein for decades. There's nothing great about Epstein other than that he's a pedophile, willing to use people. And so essentially they get dirt on all these people. Some of the people it's financial. What they're focused on right now, obviously, is the sexual part of it.
Yep.
Um, and then what the government's decided to do is they have no intention on holding Donald Trump or anybody accountable, is they just keep leaking out the information, drawing it out until we get so tired of it. They do this in the Border Patrol. It takes years to get your cases against Border Patrol agents, even to court. And by then, the victims give up and they're tired. So they're waiting for us to give up and be tired.
Okay, guys, we can't give up and we can't be
Can't
tired.
give up.
We can't give up because what Jenn pointed out is actually very true. She had asked me, we had had an exchange the other day about do I really think that what's going on with Epstein is new, right? No, I don't. I think that people have been trafficking young children for since probably the beginning of time. And I think
Yeah.
as polite society and women had more of a influence over politics, I think it had to go more underground. Be-
Yeah, I think, and two, what I take from this is knowing that Bill Clinton's involved in this somehow. There's lots of Democrats involved with this, scientists, intel guys,
Yep.
powerful attorneys, all this
Yep.
other stuff. What that tells me as somebody who studies the Border Patrol rape culture is that I looked to my wife when I realized this. I said, Jay, I'm asking for accountability from Congress and powerful people, the presidents and the legislature and the judiciary, and yet so many of these people are tied up in this rape culture. So I'm asking people in a rape culture to give me justice for another rape culture. And it's
It's
like,
not going to happen. There it is.
yes, yeah.
It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
It's
You
really kinda
can't
opening my eyes to
Yes, you should
why
write
I
about
don't get
that,
anywhere.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, you're exactly right, and what does that lead back to, Jen? The patriarchy.
the
Women
patriarchy.
have always sat at the intersection of of all of it, even women who think, "Oh, yeah," like, white women. It doesn't matter if you're a white woman. You're still not there's a hierarchy, and you ain't in it. You're not in the club either. Like, I don't care.
I see somebody said that Clinton said that, Carrie Grace says that Clinton said, "Release every document and photo." Yeah, I agree with that, and even if they have nothing on Clinton that shows that he engaged in these activities with children, um, Clinton still knew about this man, Clinton
Exactly, and
still knew about
that's
all
the
this
point.
other stuff going on,
That's
so
the
give me a
point.
break.
How do you not I mean, all of the comments from different people, reporters, I don't remember who it was, but it was a reporter who had said, something about, "What's so crazy about your life is, like, I can't tell anyone about it." Like,
Yeah,
all the and I'm like, "Y that why would you not?"
yeah,
Because you accept it. You're okay with it.
mhm.
Anybody who showed up at parties, who went out to dinner, who hung out, that doesn't mean that they may have engaged, but there is probably not it's probably unlikely that a lot of people did not know.
It's like the Border Patrol when people say, "Is every Border Patrol male Border Patrol agent or even the female Border Patrol agents engaging in sexual abuse?" Absolutely not.
Yeah,
But every Border Patrol agent knows this is happening and looks the other way. And so that
the
tells you,
same.
like, I'm sorry, you cannot tell me Hillary Clinton did not know about this man. You cannot tell me that a lot of these high up female leaders did not know about this man, and male leaders did not know about this man.
Or at least have suspicion about some of the obviously,
The
if you're not
documents prove that. The millions of documents prove
Yes,
how many people knew about it. Think about the pilots, thinking about the
yes,
people that cleaning the house,
yeah,
thinking about the people getting rid of the bodies, thinking about the people bringing groceries to the house, to the island. Think about all that stuff. So many people,
yeah,
doctors, lawyers, attorneys, everybody knows about this. And everybody kept their mouth fucking shut
yes, and
all these years.
yep, and that I just want to inspire women, men, parents, people that have any sense of decency or morality or any sort of moral compass to say enough. Rise up, flood their zone, stand up against it any single time you can because you know what? There is strength in numbers. And that's the point that we just have to understand. It's just like Jen said. If all of the corporate media and mainstream media would go out collectively and say, "Okay, ready? Go. This is a headliner. This deserves to be in all the headlines," right? If they all did it at the same time, guess what? Guess what? What's he gonna do? Sue all of them?
And the other thing, like one of them said, well, it's not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. It is
Oh,
a crime to party with somebody who you know is a pedophile. It is a crime for you to engage with somebody if you're a politician, knowing that person is
yeah.
bribing people and doing all this other stuff. It is. If
And I
you
would just
know
like
all
to
this
say
stuff.
that for certain laws, and I know this from, working with children, depending on the state that you're in, there are mandated reporting laws that if you, especially for people in particular um, lines of work or professions, if you're an attorney and you are exposed to this and you don't I'm relatively certain there's mandated reporting of child abuse. In some states, it's mandated reporting for any adult that is exposed or suspects abuse of children. They are mandated to report it. So to say that it's not illegal,
And not only that, it's highly questionable judgment on your part. do I really want you to have the national security codes and all that other stuff when you're
No.
just not even sure if you should be hanging around a pedophile who is and I just wonder well, I wonder what the stories are gonna be like. How did these girls go missing from their homes? Were their parents looking for them? Were their friends looking for them? Was family looking for them? How did that happen? How did so many young girls and boys end up disappearing? And yet it's all kind of like we've not even broached that subject yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're
How many
right.
people are sitting there wondering, I wonder if my son Joey or if my daughter Jennifer, who I have not seen in 30 years, 20
Got
years,
sucked up into some sort of sex
and they're
trafficking
buried
or
on that ranch in New Mexico, or they're
right,
buried on that island, or they're
right.
buried in all the other places that he
You're
has.
absolutely right. And
They don't know.
and you know what I have to tell you as a mother, as an advocate of children, as a woman, it's unacceptable to me. And
Mhm.
unacceptable to me, and we have to keep pushing, 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 pushing. We're gonna break down the goddamn door. That's it.
Yeah.
Burn it all down, start back from the studs, and say, "That's it. That's
Burn
it.
it all down.
Burn it all down. Burn it all down."
Let's leave
Torch the
on that.
patriarchy. I'm with you. So thank you, Jen. Thanks to everybody. We appreciate you guys for being here very
I can do
much.
that.
Yay! Look.
I can't do it very there you go, I can't do it with my hands.
Yay! So we super appreciate
Art.
all of you being here with us, and and we will definitely be back in touch to rant again, and hope you'll join us. And I'll get this out there, and please share it with anybody else once we put it out there and it's ready to go, because we're mad and we're done. Smash the patriarchy. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye,
See y'all.
everybody.